Welcome to Flipped Classroom. We're looking at measurement, and this video is on perimeter. Our learning intention is we are learning about perimeter and line notation, and our success criteria is I am successful when I know the notation for equal length, I understand what perimeter is, and I can calculate unknown lengths on a shape. So I have a shape here, and what would be our first step in finding the unknown sides? And our first step is always convert all sides to the same units. So I would be choosing millimeters because that way I don't have any decimal points, but you can choose centimeters, or if you really wanted to, meters. I usually choose the smallest unit there. Now, just a reminder about converting distances. We have this conversion chart that we can use so that we can convert from one unit to another. Now, perimeter is the distance around a closed shape. So all sides need to be the same units, and all unknown sides need to be found before we calculate the perimeter. Any sides with markings on them are called congruent. Now, if they've got different number of markings, they are different to each other. But if they've got the same number of markings, they're the same length as the other sides with those markings. So in our triangles below, the vertical sides are the same because they've only got one marking. The horizontal sides of both triangles are the same because they've got two markings. And that hypotenuse is also the same because it's got three markings. So I have an example here. We are going to be finding the perimeter of the shape that we had in the first slide. Now I've got on my left-hand side my thinking, and my right-hand side is what I would do in my book to show my teacher that I understand this question. So the first thing that I would do is I would redraw the shape and make sure that all the units are the same. So here I've redrawn my shape. I've made sure that all the units were in millimeters because that way I didn't have to worry about any decimal points. Next, I want to find the unknown sides. So we've got three sides that we don't know the length of yet. So my first one would be, I'd be looking at the vertical sides, and I've got a 45 millimeter on one side, a 30 millimeter on the other. And if I take the 30 away from the 45, I'm left with 15 millimeters for that side that's left. Now I know that that side and the top one are congruent, so I can write 15 millimeters for that one as well. And then finally, I can do the same maths and go 100 millimeters minus 15 millimeters to find that last side of 85 millimeters. Our next step is to add up all the sides. So to do this, I'd write down the perimeter, or P, is equal to, and I would pick one corner and then go around the whole shape. So I've started in the top left corner, and I've written 45 plus 100 plus 30 plus 85 plus 15 plus 15. And I do that way I know I don't miss any of the sides. And I type that into my calculator and I add that up, and I get the perimeter is 290 millimeters. Now I make sure that I write the units there. That way my teacher knows that I have finished this question and I have calculated the answer correctly. Here's another type of question for perimeter. We've been given the perimeter of 22 meters, and we've been asked to find the unknown value of x in the rectangle. And x is the shorter side of this rectangle. First, I would write out the perimeter equation for a rectangle. So I know that the perimeter of a rectangle is twice the length plus twice the width. So I've written down the equation. The perimeter, which I knew was 22, equals 2 times 8, twice the length, plus 2x, twice the width. Now I'm going to use a little bit of algebra here and rearrange and solve for x. What that means is I put x on one side and I have the rest of the equation the other side. Now I've rearranged my equation here. So I've got x equals 22 minus 2 times 8 divided by 2. Now I could type this into my calculator, or I could work this out manually, and I'll work this out manually so I know using order of operations that 2 times 8 needs to be equated first. So I work out that. And next I can do the minus in the numerator, and then I can do that division and make sure that I write down the units again. That way my teacher knows that I've got to the answer. So for some reflection today, why is it important to make sure that you have found all the sides before calculating the perimeter. Remember, like the video and subscribe for more videos on learning.